Welcome to the John McAllister Report, where John McAllister, top football evaluator, interviews college and high school coaches and athletes from around the country. Sit back and enjoy today's podcast.
Hello, I'm John McAllister, and I'd like to welcome you to the John McAllister Report. And today we're going to go into Coach's Corner and do an interview with Tom Watts, the head football coach at Ohio Wesleyan University. He's been in the business for 20 years. He looks young, and he's been at Ohio Wesleyan for 10, and has a winning record and done really well. His first year he was 9-1, and last year is 8-3. So they know good. They know what it takes, and he knows what it takes. Now, the conversation is going to be mostly Division III football, because I think most people don't understand it, don't know about it, and probably some don't care about it. I happen to care about Division III football. It's fun. Kids work hard, just as hard as Division I. Get just as excited as Division I. Coaches work hard. So again, sit back and enjoy my video podcast with head football coach at Ohio Wesleyan University, Tom Watts. Today, Tom Watts, I'd like to welcome you to my podcast, the head coach at Ohio Wesleyan University.
Thank you. Excited to be here, John. I appreciate it.
How are you? You're a young guy.
I think I got a baby face. I'm not too young, but
okay.
I'm doing good.
We were talking off before we came on about your dad, Tom Watts, and he was a coach in the Cleveland area, kind of the western suburbs a little bit, right?
Yep.
There, I think. And,
head coach North Olmsted High School.
North Olmsted's where I picked, like I met so many guys. I don't know if I remember. I worked with him, but I don't know if I met him personally or not. Okay, Tom, I really like Division III football, and every year I try to see a game. It's so refreshing. And of course, I love football. And I'll be honest with you, kids get as excited in Division III as they do Division I. Yeah. I saw your one game last year in 2020, and kids play as hard in Division III as they do in Division I and Division II. I really have so much respect for those guys, and I'll get off my soapbox in a minute. I think it was like my second or third year coaching. I was at West Holmes. And after 3 years there, it didn't work out. So I went to the College of Worcester and worked with the defensive linemen and the inside linebackers in the 4-4. And I guess I was considered a part-time coach. I got as much, but I didn't get much money at all, but I got another head football job right out of there. So that served its purpose. And plus I learned so much football, and I grew up fast when I got my butt chewed a couple times. Tell me about. I was so immature. Guy. Anyway, tell me about Ohio. No, let's go Division III football, Coach. You've been around it in a kind of a long time, haven't you?
Yeah, I played Division III football, and I've coached for been the head coach here now for 10 years, but I've been coaching for almost 20. I've been around the game, and obviously I've been around the game my whole life with my dad, my grandfather, and great-grandfathers.
But Division III as opposed to Division I, so you really understand Division III football.
Yeah.
That's what I'm trying to say.
Yes, absolutely. I'm a product of it. It gave me the opportunity to continue to keep playing, which I really enjoy, and I understand the model of it. I understand why guys choose Division III, and kids are here because they want to play here. We're not providing any financial assistance, to these kids for football. Now, for academics, it's a whole different thing. But for football,
right? for actually football. And I even think in Division I's, a lot of those scholarships aren't just out of the football pocket. You know, they find other ways to reimburse those kids in Division One. Tell me then, in general, how will you describe Division III football?
Kids that are passionate about the game. You know, like you said already, you know, as you were watching games, you know, if you come to a Division III game, you're going to see the same passion, the same intensity, the same love for the game. You know, these kids are here because they want to be here, and they've made the choice to be here. They prepare the same way as Division I kid does, Division II kid. There's no difference in that. I mean, the only difference is if you peel back the layers and look at the financial records, you're going to see that these kids are here based on their academics solely. So it's not really a difference of anything else. Now, you know, our guys might be a little shorter and maybe not as fast as some of those guys running around for Ohio State, but you know, they're still pretty good football players.
I totally agree. And I would think one thing, I don't know for sure Ohio Wesleyan, but I know some other Division III schools, pro scouts come by there to check guys out too. I mean, if you got a guy, I mean, it's not like you're clear down. And I mean, pro scouts get on campus and, you know, besides they do any place else, they may not stay as long. They may not all, but I know some do because I know a couple of them that make the trips through.
Yeah, every year we get almost every team in the NFL. We'll send an email or a correspondence saying, "Hey, who do you got? Who can we view? Who do you want us to take a look at?" So, you know, we tell our guys all the time, if you're good enough, they'll find you. And
I've lived with that. I totally agree with you on that, and I like to think that I think that myself as far as finding prospects.
Absolutely.
Okay, now let's sell Ohio Wesleyan really quickly. What makes Ohio Wesleyan special?
An institution that's been around for a long time. I mean, we started football in 1890, so we've got lots of history, lots of tradition. Our location, I think, draws a lot, being, you know, really now a suburb of Columbus in a lot of ways. The city of Delaware has done an amazing job of just growing its small town, its small city. And there's a lot to offer here on campus. And so you get a great academic reputation, which, you know, every school is going to say that. But, you know, we just had our graduation last week, and every single senior that graduated for us has a plan, has a job, has an opportunity, has their next step in line. We don't have kids that just kind of come and hang out and play football and are lost. You know what I mean? These kids they're on a mission, and, you know, I think the facilities, the location, the academic reputation, I think sells itself.
For sure, I think I agree with all those, and I think as Columbus keeps going more north, you know,
Yep.
My goodness, there's such an opportunity to do things. It's not like you're out in the middle of nowhere,
Absolutely.
so to speak. And I think and you're going to get, and plus, it's new money kinda, but there's a lot of good football players in that area outside of Delaware.
Yeah, I mean, the county of Delaware is the fastest growing county in the state and has been since 2002. So
yeah, so that's really good. Okay, with that being said, what do you look for in football players? Let's go physically first, Coach. What do you look for? Before I say that, I want to do one more thing. You mentioned this. You were talking about the history. I read where you're the sixth coach in 120 since 1920 at Ohio Wesleyan. You're the sixth head coach.
Yep.
That speaks well. And I remember the one guy, he ended up Marietta. His dad was the head coach of the Vikings. But
Coach Holloway.
Yeah,
The GM. He was the GM of the Vikings. Yeah, Coach
right. So again, that's, you know, Minnesota Vikings, but you're only the sixth head coach. That's saying you've been there 10 years.
I mean, our defensive coordinator, he's been here for 27 years. Our soccer coach been here for 45 years, it seems like. So again, it's a place that people want to be. It's not a quick
and
stop.
It's still football.
Yeah.
It's football.
Yeah.
You know, I totally agree.
Absolutely.
Okay, let's talk about what do you look for in football players? Okay.
You know, when we get out on the road and we're talking to high school coaches, we're going to ask, you know, obviously who's your top kids, but who's the captain? You know, we want those, who are those guys that are willing to lead? And then from a physical standpoint, we talk a lot about toughness. And from our standpoint, sometimes we don't have the luxury of saying, hey, our offensive line has to be 6'5" and 280 and above. We have all shapes and sizes. So some kids are shorter, some kids are taller, some kids are heavier, lighter. But I think if you have that leadership quality and you have that toughness, you can find kids at every single position that help make you a good football team.
I agree. And then I think the other thing that you talked about, toughness, and I think and of course at Ohio Wesleyan, I think you got to be smart. I think you have to have smart players, and you guys get that. I would guess with your high academic standards, but I think kids have to be smart, and as far as being tough, and they still have to love the game. And at your level, I'm sure there's the like the game and love the game, and there which ones are which.
That's a great way to put it, because I think kids all think they love it until they realize there's a lot to put into it, and they're like, "Wow, I think I like it. I don't know if I love it." So yeah.
At Ohio Wesleyan, it's the same thing.
Correct.
I mean, there are guys, that's super. Okay, one other thing, I coached at the College of Worcester, and one of Coach back, 500 years ago, I was a part-time guy. But one of the things about recruiting, and I would sit, because I was a sponge, sit with the head coach, and he said, okay, let's use down in your area, Upper Arlington, okay, or Hilliard, Darby. Okay, we're not going to get that stud linebacker, but what's the other guy like? Do you ever have that philosophy at all? What's the other linebacker like? I mean, if they're both really, really good, do you ever think that way or not?
Yeah, I mean, I think we have to find the profile of kid that fits us.
Right.
And you mentioned it, academically, they got to fit no matter what. We don't have that room for negotiation as far as the academic side of stuff goes.
Right.
But when it comes to, from the athleticism standpoint, we just want to find good football players. And sometimes those those high recruited players, they're getting a lot of attention and they got offers. Well, that's an easy one to say, you know what? It's kind of hard for a kid to turn down a full ride to come to Ohio Wesleyan and have to pay out of pocket. But there's maybe a good player that's next to him that didn't get the same light that we can find that still made that team a good football team. And so, we do our homework, and we have good relationship with the coaches down here that obviously share the same sentiments.
How many coaches do you have on the staff? I know you get some volunteer, part-time, or whatever. I think Division III schools have to have those guys. I mean,
we got 9 coaches really on staff. 11 a lot of times. COVID kind of took a hit on us a little bit. We had to make some cuts here and there.
Okay.
But we're traditionally around between 9 and 11 guys on staff.
That's good. And do most of them recruit then, or how many recruit?
Anywhere from 8 to 10 of the guys will actively recruit for us, and that's been a big thing for us.
Okay, let's go back to prospects once. Give me a ballpark on the academics. What do they have to have academically?
We're talking bottom line. I mean,
bottom line.
When we always talk to coach, we're like, hey, 3.0, who's 3.0 or above. Test scores right now are kind of a weird subject with a lot of schools because we've been test optional, meaning kids don't have to turn in test scores.
Is Ohio Northern optional? Okay. I'm sorry, Ohio Wesleyan.
We're test optional, but we've been that way since 2015, so we've kind of been ahead of the curve. Where our school or university are going to look at their transcripts, and they're going to look at their essay and any teacher recommendations. So they're putting stock into that standardized test, but not, if a kid says no, I don't want it, then we don't have to use it. And I think you're going to see more and more of that, and a lot of that had to be because of COVID. Kids couldn't take the test anyways.
Right.
So schools are saying, wait a second, I think it's better off. We can get a better assessment as far as looking at their transcripts and how well they write in their essay compared to going and take a test that, it might not exactly come out the way you want it to come out to. So we say anywhere GPA 3.0, but we got kids that are a little bit less than that sometimes. Again, you also got to look at the school where they're from. Are they at a good academic high school that's, maybe giving them college prep classes? Or you at a school that's a lot easier that, maybe their GPA is a little inflated. So there's a lot of moving variables when it comes to the kids. But I will tell you that the overall thing that our admissions counselors look at is what are they doing their senior year?
Is that right?
Senior
Wow.
year has so much to tell with a lot of kids, meaning is their focus on taking that next step, or are they taking it easy? And I've seen
Wow.
kids that are over a 3.0 that have a D or an F in their senior year, they get denied because they're not focused on what the next step is.
Wow. Not that I should. I don't know if I've ever thought about that. That's really a good idea. I mean, because so many kids don't get it until maybe their junior year.
Correct.
Sometimes it's too late, GPA wise and stuff like that.
Yeah, we've seen kids that struggle their freshman, sophomore year, but had a
Right.
really good junior, senior year, and they might not have that 3.0, but our admissions counselors are saying, wait a second, look how they're trending upwards and look at the type of class they're taking. So let's give them a shot.
That's really good. That's super. How many freshmen did you bring in last year?
We're typically between 30 and 40 guys.
Are you?
Yeah, we're closer to 40, but we're right in that 30 to 40 number typically. So
Now,
that's by design.
That's what?
That's by design.
Yeah.
We're not trying to bring in 70, 80, 90 freshmen. That's not.
I was just going to say, some guys get off on that, bringing in 60, 70, coach. And I'm not putting Division III down at all, but you get by 30 and you really, really like those next 30, they may
it's gotten to the point where there's a lot of D2s that are bringing 60, 70 guys, but they're only giving money for maybe 18, 20 guys.
Right.
It's just, you lose sight of what are you trying to do? Like, we're trying to really invest in our kids and know who their families are and know what they want to bring to the table. And I think if you get to the point where you have too many guys, there's just not enough eyes to figure that out.
Plus, it's all about reps and practice.
Absolutely.
And you just getting away. I always think sometimes I was a head high school coach. These guys talk about having all these assistant coaches. Well, sometimes you don't want all those guys. They just get in your way, and you got to find things for them to do.
Exactly.
Anyway,
It goes both ways.
It does, I think. Okay, let's talk about your record. Okay, first year you were 9-1, and I don't want to spend much time on it, but let's be humble. And what's your record now? Because you've done a good job. What do you think?
We were 8-2 last year. We were 7-3 the year before.
Okay.
We've had a really good group of guys. I'm fortunate to be at a great institution. Extremely fortunate to have a staff that we've been together now I've been here now for 10 years. Like I kind of already said, our defense coordinator has been here for 26.
Wow.
Our OC's been here for 11. Our receivers coach has been here for 8. So at a small school like us, that's not very common.
No.
We get great kids that love football, they love their academics, and I think that's just the recipe for success when you can have that. And we've had really good football players here, so we're fortunate.
That's good. You've kind of set a precedent. I mean, not a precedent, but what you expect from kids because you're winning, and that kind of filters down. Those leaders filter down, and as soon as they get there as freshmen, they understand what it takes to be leaders and things like that because you're winning with upperclassmen as well. That's really good. Okay. I think I was another question. Oh, I have a couple more that maybe people aren't familiar with. What college nights, how do you view, now you're hosting it next week. Tell Division III schools and tell high school coaches they need to get to college nights.
Yeah, it's huge. I mean, it's an opportunity from a high school standpoint, a high school coach, to sell your kids, to get your kids' names out there. From a college standpoint, it's an opportunity for us maybe that, we don't have these humongous player personnel staffs and recruiting departments that can get out and see every kid. Well, that's a night where we get everything and we spend days combing through all the information these high school coaches provide. And the more the merrier. The more information we have, the better evaluation we can make and the better type of kids we can get.
And I might as well say it, Northwest Ohio doesn't do it. And Northwest Ohio probably has as many D3 prospects more than anything else.
Absolutely.
But they don't promote it. And I've always wondered, I know why, but I always wondered really why they don't do that, because that's always Cleveland does a good job. Cincinnati, Dayton, they've gotten away from it, but I think it's huge, Coach. I think I go to them all the time. Here's one thing I would tell your assistant coaches: go up to the table, get the list of players, take it back, and stand in line and go through those kids there.
Yep.
I do that all the time.
Yep.
All the time.
Yep.
Plus, I'm old, so nobody's going to say anything to me. I just reach up, pull one of those off. Who's going to say something? I'm 73 years old, man. But go through the list before you get to the coach. And then you have a great idea. Okay, do you do camps? Do you do your own camps? I thought you did.
We do. July 17th, Sunday night. It's 2 hours, 6 to 8. And it's an opportunity where we don't try to make it. It's just us. It's just our staff. We're not trying to make it a mega camp, but we just want to take our top, some kids that we're recruiting, obviously, and kids from the neighborhood that want to come over and get some work in and just kind of work out these guys and see what the day brings for our guys.
It's not on your website, I don't think. I looked for it.
No, we haven't posted it yet. We will here shortly. We haven't done it yet because we're waiting to see. Obviously, we kind of sit and see what some of the bigger schools are doing, so we're not maybe conflicting with what Ohio State's doing and what some of the bigger schools are doing. A lot of our camps, though, too, are team camps. We have a lot of high schools that come and bring their teams down here.
I was going to ask you that next with camps.
Yep.
Now, I also know some other schools that do team camps. Tell me about team camps.
That's a great opportunity. I mean, we open our facilities to these high schools, and they come down, some for 3 days, some for 1 day, some for 2 days. It just depends on what your schedule looks like. But they come down, they stay in our dorms, they eat our food, they lift in the weight room, they practice in the field. They're in our locker room. They do everything. So they have complete access to all our stuff, but it allows them, to really come together as a team. And it's fun to watch. It's fun for us to be there. Obviously, we work with the guys as well. So we're there to kind of see how when they walk in to compared to fast forward when they leave, they're a different football team at that point.
And they get the dorms.
They get everything. The whole college experience.
That's really good. And then reasonably priced, I would think.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We keep the prices. I mean, we don't make a lot of money on them. It's an advantage for us when kids come on campus and obviously they're staying on campus. So we view it as more of a recruiting opportunity rather than a money making.
With that too, you're able to maybe get some kids from a distance.
Oh yeah.
In the summer, and they could make the trip. And I'm talking about go back to individual camps. Yeah, right. I like the team camp idea.
Yeah,
that's really good, Coach. I really appreciate your time. I really like Division III football. I think I've tried to cover. I'm trying to brainstorm now and see if I've missed anything. But college nights are huge. Tell me about last question. I promise.
Yep.
How do you evaluate a prospect's attitude? How we've talked about it a little bit, but I think it's so important when you, Coach Watts, meet the kids. What do you look for in attitude?
Their sincerity. Are they sincere about their process? There's kids that this day and age really love the whole social media recruiting process, but do they really are they really trying to figure out what's best for themselves? And when you get a kid on campus and they bring family with them, hey, they're pretty serious about this at this point right now. And you just listen to the question. When I meet with kids, I let them do a lot of talking because I'm trying to figure out what they're trying to get accomplished out of this visit and what they want to get answered. And when they have some good questions, that you're on the right type of kid that, hey, they're asking me some tough, hard questions of what my 4 years might look like here. Those are all good things. And when family's involved, I think that's just it's an added deal to say, hey, all right, this is pretty serious about, the recruiting process.
Coach Watts, again, I appreciate you taking the time. Okay. Hey, thank you very, very much.
You do a great job. You've been doing this for a long time. You pass on a lot of wise words to all of us. So we appreciate everything you do.
Be careful. I'm a grandpa now. Okay. Coach Watts, thanks again. I appreciate it.
Thank you much. Appreciate it.
Okay.